Good evening, YouTube folks everywhere. Thanks for hanging out with me this evening while I figure out what I'm going to do with all the things that I need to figure out what I'm going to do with. That can go away. This can sit right here. I need a little push button shortcut thing here. I still haven't figured out. Oh my golly, I got to turn that off. And I don't know where my remote is to turn that audio off. Okay, this is why we got to start early, because if I can't figure this thing out, then I'm going to have to figure something else out. I really don't know where that remote is. All right, I'm going to let you all look at this for a minute. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out. You know, I remember knocking that remote into the trash. Oh, there it is. Okay. Apparently I did fish it out. All right. That has been properly muted. Crises averted. I think we can proceed. Let me put this back. And I got to hide the cookies. Otherwise I'll be munching on them. All right. So, whoop, that's in my way. So we're about to kick this thing into gear. There's my script. Just in case I can't think of anything to say. Actually, I got to use the script to say it all in the right order. Make sure I don't leave anything out. And tonight we're going to have Zello check-ins. That'll be new and exciting. Newish. Exciting-ish. We have a stack of early bird check-ins. We have 20 of them. And I see Flip is signed in here. He's going to help me out with logging this evening. Flip, you have no idea how much I appreciate you being there. All right. Let's see. Yeah, that's why. Because it's that camera. We should be on there. That's more better. Okay, I think it's time to go. It is. Where's my push to talk? Here it is. Let's kick this thing into gear. I should take a quick drink first. Wet that whistle. All right, let's see how that does. Good evening, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. I'll be working off the Pine Logger repeater this evening, but I'll be networked in with the following machines: Flagship 675, Lookout Mountain, Somerville, McDonough, Jersey, Noonan, Columbus, Zebulon, Moreland, Crawford, and Zello is back in action this evening. Tonight our RF coverage is approximately 31,000 square miles, but because we have Zello, our coverage is worldwide. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin, and I am located at Studio B here in Woodstock, Georgia. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in or sign out of the net. When signing in, please speak slowly and clearly as you give your call sign, your tactical unit number, your name, and your location. Let me break. At this time, I'll take check-ins. Any VoIP check-ins by way of Zello, please call Net Control now. All right. Apparently, our Zello check-ins have either already happened or nobody realizes it's running yet. All right, I'm hearing crickets. Crickets are chirping for Zello check-ins. Folks, if you'd like to check in by way of Zello at some point later on, you're welcome to. It just becomes more difficult to get in with the normal traffic. But we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm guessing that we've already got our Zello check-ins, or perhaps no one realizes that Zello is working yet, and there's just not anybody left to check in. So at this time, Net Control is going to take check-ins from guests, visitors, or new users. This is anyone who is not a member but would like to check in, or any brand new licensees, and we're taking check-ins from youth members 18 and under. If any of those categories describes you, please call Net Control now. All right. Nobody wants to go first. We already have all the firsts. Let me back up and read the log. All right. Hearing nothing for new users and guests, we're going to go ahead and motor on. But before I do, probably something I should have done before I took any check-ins is acknowledge the early bird check-ins that we already have. So let me start with what we have. Our first one was Atlanta 172 Greg. Greg is checking in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Atlanta 172, for that. We have Atlanta 403 Bobby in White County checking in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Bobby. I have Atlanta 252 Shad in Emerson checking in with us this evening. Looking forward to talking with you, Shad. And we have McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge. Looking forward to catching up with you in a little bit, Tim. We have Atlanta 420 William in Roswell. Thank you, William, for your check-in. We'll talk with you in a little bit. We have Atlanta 286 Lynn in Murrayville. Lynn is checking in and out with us this evening, but thank you, Lynn, for your check-in, and appreciate you hanging out with us and monitoring tonight. We also have Atlanta 291 Nick in Ackworth. Nick is in and out with us this evening. We have Atlanta 417 William from Auburn, also in and out with us this evening. Thank you, William, for checking in. I have Atlanta 168 Rob in Dawsonville. Rob is in and out with us again this evening. Thank you, Rob, for that check-in. We have Atlanta 102, my neighbor Mike, right here in Woodstock. Thank you, Mike, for checking in and out with us this evening. I have Atlanta 261 Scott over in Holly Springs. Thank you, Scott, for your check-in. I'm looking forward to talking with you. And Atlanta 780 Houston in Austell. Thank you, Houston, for your check-in tonight. We have Atlanta 402 Todd incoming. Todd is in and out with us this evening. And we have Chattanooga 84 Jim in Chattanooga. Looking forward to talking with you, Jim. Atlanta 76 David in Duluth. David is in and out with us this evening. Atlanta 947 Julie in Woodstock is also in and out with us this evening. Atlanta 671 John in Ballground. Thank you, John, for your check-in. Looking forward to talking with you. And we have Atlanta 948 Gary in Woodstock, in and out. And we have Chattanooga 50 Jeff from checking in from Mont Eagle, also in and out. I believe he was a Zello check-in this evening. And that is my list of early bird check-ins. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Pine Log Repeater check-ins. But if you are a youth member, if you are a guest or a new member, or if you are using Zello, you are also welcome to try to check in. So let's open it up to Pine Log check-ins. Net Control standing by.
This is WRBT 591 Atlanta 180. This is Mike from Cherry Log checking in and out. Hello to the network, but I can't stay tonight.
This is WREV 450, Atlanta 26, Flip, in Druid Hills. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. This is Atlanta 57, WQZC 82, Andrew in Holly Springs.
This is WRMC 925, Atlanta 242, Josh around Cartersville, checking in and out. Hello, everyone.
Okay, we had a really good start with the early bird check-in, so this handful of pine log check-ins is probably normal. So let me go ahead and acknowledge what we have. We have Atlanta 180 Mike from Cherry Log. Thank you, Mike, for checking in and out with us this evening. It's great to hear from you. Your signal is terrific, and looking forward to talking with you again soon. I understand you can't hang out with us tonight, but that's okay. Appreciate the check-in. Atlanta 26 Flip from the beautiful Druid Hills. Thank you, Flip, for checking in with us this evening, and thank you for your assistance with the log. I appreciate that. We have Atlanta 57 Andrew in Holly Springs. Thank you, Andrew, for your check-in. It's great to hear from you. And we have Atlanta 242 Josh in Cartersville. Thank you, Josh, for checking in and out with us this evening. Had a real tough time hearing your signal. You started off pretty good, but the signal quality kind of drifted after some time. It washed out almost completely right there at the end, but I believe I did hear you say in and out. If that's not true, just feel free to jump right back in here, and we'll get you in the mix of things. Do we have any additional pine log check-ins? Net control standing by. Crickets. I hear crickets. Okay, not hearing anything. We'll go ahead and open up the check-in to any repeater anywhere. Anyone wishing to check into the North Georgia Gmrs Regional Net, please call Net Control now.
This is 29, WRCU 796 in Tyrone, the evening Justin and Annette. This is Atlanta 308, WRJF 91, Dan in Marietta. I'll be in and out tonight. This is Chat 67, WRCX 621. That's Ed. Lookout Valley, Chattanooga repeater. We'll be standing by for the net.
Okay, we have, at this point, we have CW15, David in Comer. Thank you, David, for checking in with us this evening. It's great to hear from you, and stick around for some announcements about our next North Georgia GMRS gathering. We have Noonan 29, Marty in Tyrone. Marty, it's great to hear from you. You're sounding great tonight. We also have Atlanta 308, Dan in Marietta, checking in and out with us this evening. Thank you for your check-in, Dan. It's great to hear from you. Hope all is well. And we have Chattanooga 67, Ed in Chattanooga. Thank you for your check-in tonight, and looking forward to chatting with you here in just a little bit. Do we have any other check-ins for Net Control? Net Control standing by.
This is Atlanta 618. It's Marius checking in and out. Thank you.
Okay, Marios, was that Atlanta 618 or was that your call sign? I'm not sure I heard that correctly.
Yeah, this was my call sign, Atlanta 618, Mario.
All right. What are the letters in your call sign? Okay, Marius, I've got you here in the register. So Atlanta 618, I see WRHY 387, and it says here that you're in Ackworth. So we'll fill that in the log. I've got you in as in and out. So thank you for your check-in with us this evening. Appreciate that, and stick around. There's going to be some information, some announcements, and who knows, you might have some new travel destinations to add to your itinerary for this summer. We'll see what develops. All right, we'll have an opportunity for any others that wish to check in to do so as we approach the end of the program. We'll always take late check-ins. So, and you know, the way I see it, as long as you can check in before we close the net, you're not really late. And there have been the occasion where we've added people to the log after we've closed the net. So, you know, we don't really have a statutory set of rules here that we go by. They're really just kind of guidelines. So, with that in mind, we got a couple of things to talk about. I believe Atlanta 26 may have an announcement for the group, and we'll talk with Atlanta 780 after that. Flip, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, thanks, Justin. I was just going to make sure everybody was aware, in case they weren't, that a week from this Saturday, on May 1st, the Alfred Memorial Radio Club, otherwise known as the Stone Mountain Radio Club, is hosting a big parking lot tailgate, boneyard kind of event all day from 8 to 4 at the Tucker Recreational Center, which is just outside the perimeter off La Vista. It's real easy to find, Tucker Recreational Center. No charge to get in, no charge to bring anything to sell or walk around and pick and choose what you want to buy, what kind of old boat anchors are out there and all that. So it should be pretty fun, especially if you're into kind of old ham stuff. People just really wanted to sort of itching to get back into the Hamfest mode. So they're just doing an all-day boneyard. So right there at the Tucker Recreational Center, Saturday, May 1st. Hope to see you guys there, and maybe we'll be able to catch up with each other a little bit there if anybody wants to go. Atlanta 26.
All right, so Saturday, May 1st at the Tucker Recreational Center, the Stone Mountain Radio Club is going to be having a boneyard, you said, all day. So, Flip, if you don't mind, if you could find an announcement or a Facebook, or I'm sorry, a web page or something with some sort of information about that, if you don't mind posting that on our North Georgia GMRS page. I'll see if I can get that approved at some point along the way. And folks can look at that for reference and for information. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and see if Atlanta 780 is hanging out with us. We had a conversation earlier, Houston and I did, about the possibility of moving our May 15 gathering at Wallace Barbecue to a time earlier in the day. So I would invite all of you to take a look at the poll that we put up on the Facebook page, and just tell us what you think in terms of what the best time is, and we'll take that into consideration. So Houston, did you have anything that you wanted to talk about in addition to that?
Hi, good evening, Justin. Good evening to the rest of the net. No, I think that probably covered it. I talked to Mickey down there, one of the owners, and he seemed to think it might be easier to get in, you know, between 3 and 6 or 3 and 5. But just whatever everybody thinks. I'm still trying to get on Google. I didn't know you had put anything on there, and I'll take a look at it. But yeah, I think you pretty much covered it.
All right then. So yeah, anybody who's planning to go, please indicate your preferred time of day, and then we'll look that over this week, and we'll come back with a determination next week. It looks to me like we have between 15 and 20 that have indicated an interest in going, so that could very easily turn into a couple of dozen by the time it's time to kick this thing into gear, and I think that'll be just about the right size of a gathering. So that'll be good. If we have a lot of people, then you kind of don't really get a chance to sit and visit with anybody because there's so many people. So a couple dozen people is a great number, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So I think this will be a successful event, and I am excited to get out there and finally start enjoying some real life activities. So good stuff. All right, well, thank you, Houston and Flip, for those announcements. And I don't really have anything else. Oh wait, I do. What do I have? I have a note that I wrote somewhere. Here it is. Phase 1. Phase 1 work will begin at the flagship site tomorrow for improvements to the performance of the flagship repeater, the 675 machine. That work will be underway tomorrow. I don't have a time, but I'm guessing, if I had to guess, it's going to start around 10 a.m. and will probably go on through lunchtime, or my guess is probably a little bit beyond lunch. So be aware that there may be some testing, and the 675 machine may be on and offline at different times for that tomorrow. So Phase 1 work is going to happen tomorrow. Phase 2 will be happening on May 1st. So while the rest of you are over hanging out with Flip at the Tucker, Flip, what's the name of that place? Okay, I think it's the Tucker Memorial or Recreation Center. Tucker Recreation Center. It's Tucker something. We'll put something on the Facebook page later so that you can reference that. So while you folks are over there enjoying the tailgate, Gary and myself and a few others will be up at the flagship site doing some tower work. So that'll be on May 1st. So Phase 1 is tomorrow, and Phase 2 will be on May 1. So there we go. I think that's it for announcements. Now we can kick things into gear and get started with the net. And you know, this whole thing kind of started off with a trip that Atlanta 947 and I made last week to attend a wedding up in Talking Rock. Let me break. And when I pulled up the address on Google Maps, it showed about 3 or 4 different ways to go, and I thought, well, let's go up one way, and we'll come back another way, so that we can, you know, turn this into a nice little sightseeing trip. And well, we got to enjoy some really nice scenery and some mountain roads. We saw a turkey buzzard with some kind of a carcass. There were 2 of them actually. And we saw them actually dragging the carcass out of the roadway so that they could feast on it without getting hit by cars. And I thought, what an amazing display of some basic intelligence there. They knew that there was a danger in the roadway, and they knew that they could move that food out of that danger area, and they did it. I was impressed by that. I know that's not the most remarkable thing that has happened in nature, but I just didn't think that turkey buzzards were that smart. But apparently they are. Let me break again. And I didn't really see that much else in the way of wildlife for the duration of that trip, but we did see some beautiful mountain roads and some beautiful mountainscapes and just some great, great scenery on that trip. It was just a very enjoyable drive. And then when we got there, that trout lodge up there in Talking Rock Creek, it's a gated community. I'm not quite sure how we got in. The gate just happened to be open, but I guess that we were supposed to have entered a code. Oops. But in any case, we went to that lodge, and holy cow, just an amazing setting in a little valley with a creek that goes around. When you're standing on the back porch of the lodge, that creek starts off in your peripheral to the right, and you have a 180-degree view as that creek comes around from the side of the building and loops out in front of you and then comes and wraps all the way around and disappears off to the left of the building. Just an amazing view. And then right straight across the creek is a 70 or 80 foot high cliff face, and just a beautiful rock outcropping that comes out, on the other side of that creek. So just a really neat atmosphere and environment. Beautiful place to have a wedding. Beautiful place to spend a little bit of time and then just enjoy the things that nature offers. So let me break one more time. So with those things in mind, I thought it'd be cool because I know that there are a lot of really cool places around Georgia and even around, Tennessee and Alabama and South Carolina, and just in a region that we can get to in a day and enjoy and be able to drive home within that same period of time. Talking Rock is only an hour and 10 minutes away from us, so that was a very easy drive and a very nice scenery along the way. And I'll tell you that the drive up to the Blue Ridge repeater site is also a very beautiful drive with lots of mountainscapes and scenery along the way. But I just wanted to see if anybody had any thoughts or ideas for one-day trips, things to go see or do that are nearby and that are worthy of making a list. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and kick things into gear, and we'll start off with Atlanta 172, Greg in Bremen. Greg is in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Greg, for your check-in. It's great always to hear from you. And we also have Atlanta 403, Bobby in White County. Bobby is watching the YouTube channel, and I think he's listening to Zello. But he indicated he was in and out with us this evening, so I don't think he makes one-day trips. I think he just goes to either New Jersey or Florida. Atlanta 252, Shad in Emerson. That puts you up next. Shad, do you have any destinations for one-day trips or places that you would like to go?
Amacola Falls is really nice. One there, and it was expensive a few years back.
Was it just me, or I'm not sure? I'm not sure what I heard there. Your audio was a little bit distorted, but it sounded like you were talking into a tin cup or something. Can you come back with that?
Yes, sir. Amacola Falls. Went there a few years back, and just practicing.
Yes, Amacolo Falls. We actually had a fox hunt there. What was it, 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago. Joe Domaleski, Noonan 25, went up there and arranged a fox hunt for us. Of course, even though the foxes were all VHF and ham frequencies, you don't have to be a ham. You don't have to have any license to participate in a fox hunt because that's all about receiving. But Amacolo Falls is a beautiful place. We've been there several times. Enjoy it immensely. And typically what I'll do is I'll drop Julie off at the top and then drive around to the bottom and wait for her. But it's a beautiful place. I also enjoy going up to the lodge and sitting out on the deck and looking out at the mountainscapes there. Excellent suggestion. All right, Shad, how's your week been? Have you been staying healthy and staying busy? No, indeed. Yeah, it's been busy around here as well. So, all right, good stuff, and good to talk with you. I look forward to catching up with you again, hopefully next week. And good suggestion there. That moves me next to McDonough 22, Tim in Stockbridge. Tim, do you have any suggestions for one-day trips?
Yeah, Justin, it's not often that I get to travel a whole lot, especially these days. And most of my travels have vacation time have been back and forth to see family living in Florida or other places. So and we used to go to Six Flags quite a bit and everything, but really probably the most exciting and best time that I ever had was years ago when my son was in the Boy Scouts. And we went to North Carolina and whitewater rafted down the Nantahala River. That's a one-day trip. We're talking about one-day trips. And so I had never done anything like that before, and it's quite exciting. It's about a 4-hour raft ride down the river there, but it goes by it's like 5 minutes. I mean, you are working so hard in that raft to stay afloat. And we had a couple of capsize, and we had a couple go in the water. I ruined a good pair of tennis shoes, and somebody lost their wallet. But, I mean, everybody just had a blast whitewater rafting. And, of course, you have your guide, you have your PFDs, your personal flotation devices, and all that good stuff. It was a very exciting trip, and one that I will never forget there, Roger.
That sounds like an amazing time. Yes, whitewater rafting. I believe my kids took that particular whitewater rafting trip. I think Julie went up there with them, but she did not ride. I probably was at work when that was going on. That was several years ago. We've talked about doing it again. We took the kids to, what's the name of that town up there that the train takes you to from Blue Ridge? Is it Copper Hill? There's a place not far from Copper Hill that does whitewater rafting. I don't think it's the same level of a ride that is, but it's something that my kids have also done. We took them both up there, and while the kids were enjoying the whitewater rafting, Julie and I just did some sightseeing and drove around the countryside and then explored that town a little bit. And then we got the phone call to come get the kids, and that's what we did. But I don't have a lot of interest in whitewater rafting. I could probably hold an inner tube down and ride on an inner tube on a river so long as it wasn't too crazy. But I don't know that I would have a lot of interest in being thrown out of a boat on purpose. But who knows? It could happen. Stranger things have been known to be, so we'll see. But thanks for that, Tim. I've got that notated, so great to hear your idea there. Next on my list is Atlanta 420 William in Roswell. William, do you have any one-day trips you'd like to talk about?
I had a couple came to mind there. Definitely that whitewater rafting is a fun activity. But in the military, we did a little panhandle trip to a place called Marianna, Florida, and it has the spelunking caves and the little tours that you can do through that. And it had some great history with some of the Underground Railroad back in the Civil War history around that. And the other one is one that a lot of people miss on the west coast of Florida, which is Captiva and Sanibel Island there. It's a nature preserve there, and they have the double-wide sidewalks for rollerblading and things like that, and one of the largest bird reserves preserves in the area there. And they've got a lot of beautiful driftwood, and you can always find sand dollars out there, and it's absolutely beautiful beach there, and they restrict even the buildings that can go up on the island there. So if you want back to nature, those are two wonderful, really nice places there. Over.
Very nice. So what was the name of that place in Florida? That sounds like that might be more than a one-day trip. I don't know if I could get there and back, but go ahead and give me the name of it.
Panhandle for the spelunking and the caves there. That's Marianna, Florida. and that's just a short distance there. Captiva and Sanibel is about, I'd say maybe about a 7-hour drive there, but they've got some nice hotels there, and American Legion for any of those veterans there. Nice facility that you can sit out there and have a nice picnic and everything. I wanted to add Clifford from the Cheers moment there when you were talking about the turkey vultures there. Cliff would have probably have said, well, you know, like the hitchhikers, it's reverse engineered in how we came up with Velcro. Well, fast food, that's where it came from, was the turkey vultures. It was fast food, grab and go. That's where it came from. Over.
Well, grab and go is what they did, and I just, you know, it just impressed me that they were, that they understood that there was danger in the roadway, and that they could avoid that danger if they could get their food out of the roadway, and that's what impressed me. You know, animals are a lot smarter sometimes than we give them credit for, and it's neat to see that intelligence on display. Thank you for that, William. Appreciate those suggestions. We've made notes in the log. And we'll go ahead and move on next to Atlanta 286, Lynn in Murrayville. Thank you for checking in with us this evening, Lynn. It was great to hear you on the air, and appreciate that entry in the log. Also, I have Atlanta 291, Nick in Ackworth. Nick is also in and out with us this evening. Thank you for that, Nick. We will next move to Atlanta 417, William in Auburn, Georgia. William is also in and out with us this evening. And we have a couple more in and outs to announce. We have Atlanta 168, Rob in Dawsonville, in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Rob. And we have Atlanta 102, Mike, right here in Woodstock. Mike is also in and out with us this evening, but we'll be looking for Mike one of these evenings, get together and have a bite at one of the local Woodstock restaurants. Next on my list is Atlanta 261, Scott in Holly Springs. Scott, can you tell me about any destinations you have in mind for one-day trips?
Thank you, Net Control. Hopefully I'm not washing in and out this evening. There was a debate going on with the missus. How far is a one-day trip? And she said 3 hours or less. But mine is 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm going to go with the U.S. Space and Rocket Center over in Huntsville, Alabama. It's a little bit North Georgia people, 3 hours or so. So it's just right there in that swing space. They are still doing their social distancing and this and that, I hear. But maybe give it a bit, and you'll be able to ride the simulators and all this stuff. Because it's spoiled, and let me break. Spoiled Canton man, Atlanta 261, got to visit the space camp over in Huntsville, Alabama, in 1984, and I still have my suit there. I remember Grammy or Papa saying $100, and anyway, I don't know what $100 calculated for 1984 prices, but we still have it here, and it's a beautiful thing. And then I'll let you go. Thank you, Net Control. I want to hear Mike 180 about the Sasquatch Museum. I think that would be a great day trip to go see the Sasquatch Museum over in Cherry Log or the Bowl. Thank you, Net Control.
Yes, I definitely would like to hear from Mike this evening, but Mike indicated that he might not be able to stick around, and he checked in and out with us. I think he had something else afoot. So with that in mind, we'll have to catch up with Mike and his suggestions for one-day destinations another time. But yes, I think it'd be a good time to meet you and Mike and a handful of others at the Sasquatch Museum, and we could make some comparisons as to which of us look the most like Sasquatch. I think that I've trimmed my beard, so I probably would lose that. But if I let it grow out again, I might have a good chance of winning it. So that's good stuff. And like you say, $100 for space camp. I don't know what it costs today, but back in the '80s, $100 probably was a lot of money. But I think if your folks had realized what an impact that had, and how much that you would appreciate it all these years later, and how much of an influence that had on you and your science endeavors and curiosity and so forth, I think that they would have felt like that was money well spent. So, we've often debated, can we afford to send our kids on this, or can we do that? And always boil down to is how can we afford not to? we got to figure out how to make it happen. We got to come up with the money some way, and we tried to do that as often as we could whenever the kids had an opportunity. So some of our kids got to go to space camp, and others didn't, just because of circumstances and opportunities. And I don't think that our kids appreciated it as much as you did, but that's okay. I still feel like it was money well spent. So good stuff. We've got those suggestions in the log, and appreciate those comments. Next on my list is Atlanta 780. Houston, do you have any one-day trips that you'd like to take?
No, Justin. I can't think of any. I've been to the Natahali and rode down it, but that's been many years ago. Don't think we could do it again. Dollywood is a good place to go, but that's a little better than 3 hours away. I think we need to get together sometime at the lake. Everybody bring their fishing poles and their license, and have another cookout like we did that one time before. It was inexpensive, and got to meet everybody. Had a pretty good time.
Indeed, that would be a fabulous suggestion, is one of these day parks on Lake Allatoona, or any of the lakes really. The place that Paul had us gather at a couple of years ago worked out very, very well. It was up there, I don't even remember how far up it was. Was that Lake Allatoona? That was a different lake, wasn't it, Houston? I don't remember what lake that was.
No, sir, that was the upper end of Lake Allatoona. I can't remember the name of the place myself. I was camping over there at one of the campgrounds. I can look back through it and maybe get the name of it.
Yeah, and I know that there are a number of day camps and locations around Allatoona, but that one I think was far enough off the beaten path that it may have been a little less crowded at, and better usable for us. Some of these day camps are just jam-packed early in the day, and it's tough to it would be tough for a large group to gather there. So that would be an excellent location, just because, like I say, it was roundabout the other end of the lake and off the beaten path. I think it was about a 45-minute ride for us, but not a problem. If somebody wants to organize that, we'll do what we can to make it happen. I would love to hang out and have hot dogs and hamburgers on the barbecue grill and picnic out there with North Georgia Gmrs members, and enjoy the park and the lake. If we have our boat running, we'd bring our boat and play in the boat for a little while. But currently it's not running, so no point in bringing it. Well, thank you for that, Houston, and I think that's a great suggestion. Dollywood is a little bit more than 3 hours away, but it is one of those places that I'd like to go to, so that's probably going to fit in the 2-day or long weekend sort of category. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 402. Todd incoming. Todd is in and out with us this evening, but that brings me also to Chattanooga 84. Jim in Chattanooga. Jim, do you have any day trips that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, from Chattanooga, Fall Creek Falls is easily a day trip. Going up to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood. Those have all been mentioned, and then the other one I was going to mention was going down to Huntsville to the Space Museum because somebody else mentioned that. So those are the three that come to mind for me in Chattanooga. Those are all easily drivable. I would think Gatlinburg would probably be the farthest drive for a day trip, but Fall Creek Falls is a nice trip for the day.
What was the name of those falls? You say it was that Fall Creek Falls?
I don't know if it's a state camp, Fall Creek Falls. I don't know if it's a national thing or a state camp area or what it is, but they've got these really big falls, waterfalls that are real pretty. They got one really big one that's real pretty.
Okay. All right. Fall Creek Falls. Well, I'll put that in there, and we can search for that later and figure that one out. But that, Amacolo Falls is one that I've been to, and that's one that has a set of stairs that goes from the top of the falls all the way to the bottom. There you can kind of walk along and bridge over it in places, and there's landings every so many steps where you can stop and take photographs. And it's a popular destination for a waterfall, but I've been there enough times that I'd definitely be interested in going to a different one next time. So I'll have to search that and see if I can find Fall Creek Falls. That sounds like a great idea. And Dollywood, the Space Museum, Gatlinburg, those are all things that I think we would very much like to do, but I don't know that I'd want to do those things in a single day. I think I'd want to take a long weekend and enjoy some additional time and not be, show up and have a couple hours to play and hurry up, kids, because we got to drive back. I don't want to do that at a place like that. So that's good stuff. Thanks for that, Jim. Next we have Atlanta 76, David in Duluth. Thank you, David, for checking in and out with us this evening. And that brings me now to Atlanta 947, Julie in Woodstock. This is a first-time check-in for Julie. I'm just kidding. She's been very busy, and she has taken a little break from North Georgia Gmrs, but she'll be back at some point, and she's in and out with us this evening. But we'll definitely look for her back on the air, hopefully soon. Next we have Atlanta 671, John in Ball Ground. John, can you tell us about any ideas for one-day trips?
Yeah, one of the things that my wife and I have done, we just recently moved to Ball Ground about a year ago. One of the things we found out about North Georgia is there's a ton of wineries, there's a ton of vineyards that you just find and that type of stuff. And we've really enjoyed trying to search out and find some of those.
Yes, wineries and vineyards. I tell you, the only thing that I know about wine is that I don't really care for it. 947 and I spent we probably spent a year and several $100s looking for what is our taste in wine, and we bought very, very cheap wines, and we bought somewhat $20, $25 bottles of wine. And we bought all sorts of different types, and we went to wine tasting places and talked with people that knew all the ins and outs about wine, and I just don't care for it. I don't know. It's probably just me. And Julie's not a big fan of it either. She drinks a lot more of it than I do because I don't drink any. But I just never did figure that out. And, alcohol, beer is also one of those things. I've never really enjoyed the taste of beer. It doesn't mean I don't drink, but usually what I drink is not wine and not beer. Yeah, but I don't drink very often. I'm not an expert in any of it. But one of the things that I've enjoyed is some of these microbreweries. It's fun to go, and I'll drink a cola and hang out and just enjoy the vibe and the scenery. And sometimes there's music, and sometimes there's trivia or games. And I know that some of the wineries have been doing something very similar to that. So we just haven't gone to any, but I think that could be a very entertaining afternoon or evening. One of the wineries that we've been real curious of and often tempted to stop in and spend some time at is a place called the Fainting Goat Winery, which is one that we drive past on our way to the repeater at Flagship 675. So one of those curiosities we've often thought maybe that'd be worth spending an afternoon at, and doing a little wine tasting and enjoy whatever they have for entertainment there. But we haven't done that yet, so that's on the list. Good idea, John. Excellent suggestion. Next on my list is Atlanta 948. Gary in Woodstock. Gary is in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Gary, for checking in. It's great to hear from you. Next, I have Chattanooga 50. Jeff checking in by way of Zello from Mont Eagle. Thank you, Jeff, for checking in this evening. I hope that you're able to monitor us with Zello, and hope that it is still working and working well for you. And let's see, where am I at here? Next, I have Atlanta 180. Mike in Cherry Log, near the Sasquatch Museum. So Atlanta 261 and I are going to have to get together with Mike and go tour the Sasquatch Museum one of these days. Coming soon, I think. That brings me next to Atlanta 26. Flip in the beautiful Druid Hills. Flip, do you have any one-day destinations you'd like to talk about?
Well, I would say, first of all, I think we're very fortunate here in Georgia to have everything from the beaches to the mountains. Very few states can say that, and so I think that's really pretty cool for us. I would say also that there's some wonderful gems of state parks all around the state. If you just get kind of a state map of all the parks and go check them out. We went down to one Father's Day, a couple Father's Days ago. We went on a day trip down to this place called Providence State Park, which is also known as the Little Grand Canyon of Georgia. It's down south of Columbus, and it's really interesting. We just took a picnic and went down there and checked it out. You can hike down into the canyon and enjoy the scenery and see what it's all about. It's really neat. Another thing we did, you mentioned Amacolo Falls, and I don't know if you've ever done this. This is not just one day, but it's really overnight. But you hike to the hike-in. Have you ever done that? I don't know. That's a really cool thing to do. But yeah, I think just going to, I would recommend some of these way out state parks. Check them out. And also Callaway Gardens down that way in the south is really great. And if you take the bikes, if you have younger kids, they have paths between all of the like the Butterfly Center and they have another building that's kind of like botanical gardens and stuff. So that's really neat too. Anyway, back to you, Net Control.
Some great suggestions, and I didn't keep up very well on my notes. Maybe you can supplement my notes there a little bit. But yeah, the state parks, Providence in particular is one that Julie has made mention of a number of times. It's on our list of things to do. We just haven't gotten to it yet. But we definitely want to. We've seen photographs and we've seen pictures that some of our friends have taken when they've gone there. So we definitely want to do that. And I tell you, there's enough stuff to do down in that part of the world. It's almost worth turning it into a sort of a mini vacation, because you also mentioned Callaway Gardens, which isn't far from Providence. And Callaway is a place that Julie and I have been to a number of times and enjoy very much. We like to go to the Christmas time, their lighted drive-through display. It is phenomenal. And it's one of the best Christmas displays that I think I've seen. Typically, when we go down there, we'll take the drive-through, and we'll drive through it a couple of times just so that we get lots of pictures, and because you never can go as slow as you'd like to because people behind you are wanting to, it's a pretty good amount of time to get through it the first time, but I don't know, we're goofy enough we do it twice. But Callaway is very cool. There's also a place down there near Callaway. I can't remember the name of it. But it's an animal safari, and you can rent one of their vehicles, and you can buy some of their feed pallets, and you drive their vehicle. The windows have all been removed, and they've got steel bars welded in them so that the animals can only stick their heads in so far, and they do stick their heads in so far, and they will reach in and look for the food that you're going to hand them. So that's a lot of fun. Some of these animals are just amazing, and some of them are just big slobbery, disgusting messes. But it's a great time nonetheless. So I can't remember the name of that place, but we've been to it a couple of times. We've taken the kids there. We've taken Julie's folks there, and it's a great time every time. That's about a 2-hour ride from Woodstock, so very enjoyable. Good ideas, Flip, and yeah, make some additions to my notes there in a log. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 57, Andrew in Holly Springs. Andrew, do you have any suggestions for one-day trips?
Good evening, Justin, and everyone on the net. Okay, how adventurous do you want to be? And how long can you deal with being in the car for only a couple hours out of the vehicle? I think I've mentioned this before. The family and I have done a down and back to Panama City Beach a couple times. I think that I've mentioned that. Also, Jacksonville, we've done it. And I think we did it at Tybee also. I think my wife could maybe confirm that. But anyway, maybe that's not recommended exactly because I guess we're a little more adventurous or willing to stay in the car longer than others. But that's for the people who would be willing to do that, as we did. As far as more on the normal side, this may have already been mentioned or not, but especially if you're a radio person, whether it be GMRS or ham, that would be to Brasstown Bald, because there's a lot of sites up there, the museum up there, and then, of course, a bunch of radio you could do from up there as well, being the highest peak in Georgia. So those would be two I'd throw out there, one a little bit more normal and a little bit the other one a little bit more kind of adventurous.
Oh, yeah, most of the places that you mentioned for me are going to require a hotel. Panama City Beach, Jacksonville. My brother lives in St. Augustine, which is just a half an hour from Jacksonville. Tybee Island, Savannah. I love Savannah, but I'm not going to Savannah for the afternoon. If we're going to Savannah, I'm going to be there all afternoon and the evening, and then we're going back to the room, and we're going to go back again for breakfast at Henry's and decide whether or not we're going to head home or stick around for some more. I love Savannah. So does 947. So if somebody suggested that there was a reason to go to Savannah, we would probably say yes. We'll be there. Love Savannah. So St. Augustine is also one of those. Very much enjoy the town. Unfortunately, my brother lives there, so anytime we go to St. Augustine, he has to come along, and sometimes he spoils our enjoyment because we want to go. I mean, we're visiting. We want to go there as visitors, and he's like, I can't stand all these tourist places, and but that's what we are. That's what we're there for. We want to see the fort, and we want to see the tourist trappy stuff because we're not from around here, and that's what you do when you're not from around here. So, but anyway. Love it. Love the ideas. But, most of that I'm going to have a hotel room for. And that's okay. We can do that, too. So you go ahead and drive down there and stick around for an hour. I'll go check in. And by the time I've got my room key and my bags unpacked, you'll be in the car on the way home. But that's all right. We'll have a good time anyway. So good ideas, Andrew. Thank you for all of that. Next on my list is Atlanta 242, Josh in Cartersville. Josh was in and out with us this evening. Josh, we're glad that you checked in, but we had a hard time hearing you, so hopefully you can improve your station and check in with us again next week, and we can get to know you a little bit better. Next on my list is CW15, David in Comer, Georgia. David is the founder of North Georgia GMRS Net, and we very much love to hear from him when we can. David, do you have any suggestions for one-day trips? Maybe Austell on May 15th.
I want to try to make it there on May 1st, and I'll bring a buddy of mine, if I can get CW14 to come along. And looking forward to that. And good evening to you as Net Control and to everyone. Hope everyone had a great day. And as far as my one-day trips are concerned, we did it when the kids were growing up, and that's been a while back. My one-day trip and getting back safely is going to Walmart and coming back. So I'll turn it back over to you, Net Control. Doing a great job. And we'll talk to you in a while. We'll just sit here and listen.
Well, I tell you, Walmart can be worth the trip if you're going there to people watch. That's for sure. I get it there. I absolutely do. But you're probably going to have a little more time in the car with Steve when you come on up to Austell for the dinner. That's on May 15, 1-5. So you got a few weeks before we're going to do that. Want to make sure everybody had plenty of notice. And we're currently trying to figure out what time we're going to have that. We originally had talked about 6 p.m., but we may move that to earlier in the day so that folks will have the opportunity to attend and not have to drive home in the dark. So that's under discussion on our Facebook page if you care to pull that up and look at it or not. But we'll definitely make sure that everyone has an opportunity to see and hear the time for that event before. Probably the week before May 15. We'll have that ironed out. So yeah, good stuff. And yeah, the trip to Walmart definitely worthwhile to go there for people watching, without a doubt. And say hi to Steve for me next time you see him. We haven't heard him on the radio for a little while, but definitely hope that all is well with you and him. I believe he's over in Athens now. I think is that correct?
Yeah, I talk to him quite often, and he's doing well. And I already brought this up and ran it by him last week, and we're all ready to make the trip. I did fill in the check box at 1 or 2 o'clock. That would be great, but that's kind of early for a lot of folks. Well, if they don't eat lunch, they come over and eat lunch then, can't they? Back to Net Control.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a Saturday, so it can be early, and we call that lunch. In fact, whenever my family has a gathering, it's always expected that the lunchtime meal is going to be at 1 o'clock. So if it's a afternoon gathering, we're going to eat at 1. So if you don't know what time to be there, you just know that we're going to eat at 1. So you probably want to show up sometime before 1, or if you can't make it until after 1, you automatically know that the best you can hope for is to warm up a plate. So I think 1 o'clock is a good time. We'll just have to see what the consensus is, and we'll make a decision well before we get to that time. So I'd very much like to see you there, and that would be great if you and Steve could make it. Thank you for that, David, and I've got Walmart in the log for your entry there. Next on my list is Noonan 29, Marty in Tyrone. Marty, do you have any one-day trips you'd like to talk about?
Good evening, Justin, and everybody on the net. I had a couple of them there, and I got to just put them aside, and because they got mentioned there, but Callaway Gardens was certainly one of them, and we had a wonderful time there, and it's a beautiful place, especially in the light show at Christmas, as you mentioned. Another one that I looked up, I'll say it anyway, but they're currently closed due to fixing their water system, apparently, well water and such, and they're closed until further notice. It's in a little town called Juliet, which isn't far from Pine Mountain there where Callaway Gardens is. It's called, let me reset, it's called the Whistle Stop Cafe. There's not much to do around there, but it's a quaint little town that was part of a book, and fried green tomatoes is what they're famous for, and that's what the book and movie was all about. We went there and had a line out the door practically to get in, but we got great service and good food and fried green tomatoes, of course. All a lot of fun there. Another one that comes to mind, and this one's a little bit different if you like fishing and camping, swimming, boating, etc., is to take a trip across the state on the back roads and go to Lake Wedowee, Alabama. And that was also a really, really pretty place there. A little on the buggy side in the late part of summer and very, very humid, but a beautiful place nonetheless. Back to that from Noonan 29.
I'm about to enter Lake Wobegon, but I'm pretty sure that's not right. Can you tell me what the name of that lake is again?
Well, I got laughed at when I first said it. It's because I thought it was Wedowee. It's actually Lake Wedowee, a Whiskey Echo Delta, Oscar Whiskey Echo Echo. And that's the actual name, and everybody there calls it Wedowee, but it looks like Wedowee.
If you had said Wedowee, I probably would have gotten that right off the bat. But because you pronounced it Wedowee, all I heard was Wobegon. And once that went through my mind, it was done. There was no hope of me remembering what the name of it is. But I think I've got it entered correctly in the log at this point. So that's good stuff. Good suggestions. The Whistle Stop Cafe in Juliet, and is that the place where the fried green tomatoes movie was made, or is that just a common theme?
That is where it was made, from what I was told, and it still looks period authentic. It looks like it come out of the 30s. There, it's a real honest to goodness, no air conditioning, fans up in the corner of the ceiling blowing down on everybody, and not your ceiling fan style, more like the little cage fans just kind of hanging on some wires up there. And but it's a quaint little place nonetheless.
Fascinating. All right. Well, yeah, we'll have to add that to the list and make a visit there one of these days. It sounds to me like I need to just go down into that Columbus, Georgia area and get a room and then spend a week doing all of these little one-day things, from there. I could probably make it to Panama City Beach from Columbus, Georgia, and back in a day. But to start off from here, I'm going to need a hotel room down there in Panama City Beach. So, but that does sound like a very good time. Thank you for that, Marty. Appreciate your comments. Next on my list is Atlanta 308. Dan in Marietta. Dan is in and out with us this evening. Thank you, Dan, for checking in. That brings me next to Chattanooga 67. Ed in Chattanooga. Ed, do you have any one-day trips you'd like to tell us about?
Well, good evening, Justin and Annette. Appreciate your doing this as always. So I had to think about your question, and I've always been rather disappointed to get plans going, and you're all set to go someplace, and you've got a couple months of waiting, and the day comes, and it's rotten weather. So to me, that's quite a disappointment. So with that said, I try to think of a place that is weather independent, actually might even be conducive with the hot weather and humidity that we got coming. That you could easily get a group in. You don't have to worry about waiting in line or having a couple of us sitting around. And long and short of it, yes, we got a place relatively close to all of us. It's the Anheuser-Busch plant. Air-conditioned, very, interesting tour if you've ever taken one in one of their facilities across the nation. Always interesting. They've got a little bit of a get-together typically after work. I have not been to the one there, but based on the other plants, if you talk to them, you could have your own picnic, and I know somebody brought up a picnic earlier. You could have a picnic there on their property. So that would be nice, I guess. Easy to get to, easy to find. Nobody's going to get lost. Back to Matt.
That is a great suggestion. And in fact, not that long ago, Atlanta 947 and I, along with 948, went up to Cartersville to visit the Budweiser brewery. And we were able to have a brewery tour and a tasting of a couple of samples. And then when the tour was complete, we were able to enjoy a backyard thing that they had going on, where they had games and food vendors, and you could buy cups of just about anything that comes from the Anheuser the Anheuser brewery, anything from their brand, any of their product lines. They had everything there. They had a semi-trailer that had it must have had, I don't know, a couple dozen taps, and for, I don't know what it was, if it was $3 or $4, but they'd give you a cup, and then you just go pick whatever tap you wanted, and fill your cup, and that was very neat. We also got to see the Budweiser Clydesdales, and that's the whole reason that we went, was to see the Clydesdales. Incredible animals, and very neat presentation that they made. Loved the brewery tour. That building is incredible. One of the things that they talked about is that this is the one brewery that they will switch from canning beer to canning water for emergencies. So whenever a major emergency occurs, they shut the beer production off, and they just filter water and put it in cans, and they will fill can after can and send pallets full of cases of water to wherever it needs to go, and they do that without any expectation of payment. So they load semis up with water, and if there's a disaster because of a hurricane in New Orleans or wherever it might be, they'll send a couple of truckloads of water to that location. So that's kind of a neat thing. They just automatically do that, and then after they've sent whatever amount of water, then they transition back into canning beer. So neat stuff, and that's a great idea. And yes, you could definitely do those tours in bad weather, because it's all indoors until you get to the food vendor part outside. But they only do that. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. With I think the Clydesdales, I don't think that's even an annual thing. That's just a once every so often thing. So neat stuff. Great idea. Appreciate that, Ed. Thank you for the suggestion. Next on my list, I have Atlanta 618, Marius in Ackworth. Marius, I believe I have your name spelled incorrectly in the log. I'm going to have to correct that. Next chance I get, I'll see if I can do that. But while we're underway here, let's go ahead and move on to Atlanta 911, Cassandra in Woodstock. Cassandra, do you have any one-day trips you'd like to talk about?
Well, good evening. I'm not sure if I need to check in, but in case I do, Atlanta 911 WARS 515, Cassandra in Woodstock, and I guess Justin checked me in because I've been ad-libbing a whole bunch of comments on everything. And of course, I have tons of one-day trips. I love 1 or 2 day trips. A lot of them were mentioned. I go over the first day of January 1st every year. I take a one-day photo trip, and I've gone out to Anniston, and I've gone over to another city. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of it now. Just about 45 minutes on the other side of Rome. Rome is great. I've done the hike in. I've done Callaway Gardens. If you're down in the Callaway Gardens area, the brother to the person who started Callaway Gardens. Has a beautiful place. In fact, Julie and I might need to take an afternoon trip down there called Hills and Dales. And I was out there at Christmas time, and it's a much smaller version of Callaway Gardens, and it's absolutely beautiful. And in comment, actually, I'll take a break real quick. Okay, in comment to Columbus to Panama City, I've actually gone down past Columbus for an event one day. We finished up by 11 o'clock in the morning, and we looked at each other and said, hey, we're only about 2 hours from the beach. So we ended up at St. George Island. Awesome place. Not really a day trip from here, but we ended up staying the night there and came back the next day. I could go on and on with day trips. Most of my trips are involving hiking and or photography. So if it's got one of those, and I love places like Chattanooga, Charleston. I just did a few days in Charleston. That's more of a weekend trip, like Savannah. It's not really a one day. But Charleston is great. Chattanooga is a one day. Anything with history and tourism, touristy places, I'm all in. So with that, I'll turn it back to the net.
Yes, and yeah, the photo trips. She is a trip when it comes to photos. She brags about cutting people's heads off and framing them. So you have to be careful if she ever offers to take your photograph. Just be aware of that. But good stuff. And yeah, 911 has taken some very, very nice photographs. Stuff that is definitely worthy of having framed and displaying. However, it's kind of a pain in the butt to get any of them out of her, so there is that. But she's got stuff that she should have up on a website, you know, where you could buy prints. Some very high quality stuff. I don't know how she does it, but she gets it by somehow. But she claims to know what she's doing, and she can say all the words and string them together in such a way that makes me believe her. So good stuff. I appreciate that. And St. George Isle is not one that I've been to, but Callaway is obviously one. I'm kind of surprised that there's a handful that I expected to get mentioned that weren't. Gibbs being one of them. No one has mentioned Gibbs Gardens. And there's a couple others. But I'm going to save those, and I'm going to see if we have any additional late check-ins to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Anyone that wants to jump in here, or anybody that we've missed, now's your chance.
This is Atlanta 123, WRFD 619, Tillman, Woodstock.
All right. All right. I was wondering if there would be any behind you, Tim, but it sounds like you're the only one, and that's okay. That makes you next on the list, Tim. So do you have any one-day trips that you'd like to speak of?
When listening to all the net suggestions out there, I come up with 4. As most of you guys know, I ride a motorcycle, and part of my joy is the trip to the location, taking the twisty roads. So I would recommend that folks get a map out and look for a twisty, curvy road, because many times they're very scenic instead of trying to get there fast. Enjoy the journey to the destination. But I guess my first one was Ball River Falls up in Tellico Plains. It's a nice drive up. The falls are beautiful. The drive along River Road is exceptional scenery. So that would be one up Tellico Plains, Tennessee area. The other is not too far from that. It's in Reliance, Tennessee. It's on the Hiawassee River. There's a powerhouse recreation there. So along the river, you got fishing. I've seen some rafting and kayaking out there, as well as beautiful scenery. Let me take a break. Next one is probably Springer Mountain. You can drive up to the parking lot off, I think it's Forest Service Road 42, and you've got a mile hike, moderate hike up to the top there.
and Springer Mountain is the southern terminus on the Appalachian Trail. So pack a lunch and enjoy the view at the top if no one's ever done that. The other is Bell Mountain up in Hiawassee, Georgia. If you've never been up there, beautiful view out over the Chattooga Lake. Bell Mountain is unique because it's got graffiti all over it. They've got some wooden steps so you can get up and get some nice elevation. So that's a fun one to visit. Plus, being close to Chattooga Lake, you've got fishing. And one of the other things about Hiawassee is they're big into pickleball. They've got some real nice courts there if anybody in the North Georgia Gmrs group likes pickleball. So I guess those are the ones I would suggest for day trips. They're all about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Some great suggestions there, Tim. And yes, I hear what you're saying. Grab a map and find a windy road, and that can be enjoyable just in and of itself. And I think one of the things that made last week's trip to Talking Rock so enjoyable was riding in the Jeep. And you know, that's a vehicle that's made to roll up a mountain road and comfortably and confidently, and very nice ride. So yes, the twisty, windy road has the creek that runs along one side and the little water features that you come to from time to time, and the view across the valley and the mountainscapes and all of that. Those are the things that we find when we get off of 575 or 75 and get away from the beaten path and take the road less traveled. I very much enjoy not going the same way whenever I go to something. You know, to go the same way every stinking time can be very boring. So unfortunately, there's only one way for me to get from here to Walmart, David. I don't have much in the way of options for alternative routes to Walmart. So whenever I go, I just have that one road. Since it's only a block and a half away from me, there's just not much in the way of options. I could go the other way to the dead end and then make a loop and then come back and go to Walmart just for a little variety. And you know, truth be told, I actually do that sometimes, but that's mostly because I'm nosy and I want to know what my neighbors are up to, and there's construction going on back there I've been trying to keep up with. But in any case, that's the end of my list. I understand that Atlanta 911 has a comment to make, so let me go ahead and give it to 911, then we'll open the floor up for comments following that. Cassandra, do you have a statement you'd like to make?
I do. I actually have a comment to your comment, and thank you so much. I appreciate your praise on my talent and my hobby. But I do believe, you know, you call me out and say it's a little bit difficult to get some photos out of me, but I do believe you have a number of amazing photos on your wall taken by a certain local photographer. And yeah, if anybody's looking for a day trip, I mean, I probably spend about $1,000 a year in memberships to different places like Gibbs, the Zoo, Atlanta Botanical Gardens, any of the state parks in Georgia. I go to Kennesaw Mountain a lot. So I kind of skip the ones that are right here in our community, right here in Cherokee, to those that live here in Cherokee Cobb area. But there's a lot of days when I only have about 3 or 4 hours of free time that I go and just go tour the area and drive on back roads, getting pictures, just clearing my head, especially if it's a stressful day. So if anybody's ever looking for a quick couple-hour getaway, whether it's just to drive or to visit a place, hit me up on Facebook. I'm happy to share them between work and seen a lot of them. So back to net control.
Oh, the timeout timer got you, didn't it? I might have to take this call. All right, Atlanta 911. Well, thank you for those comments. And yes, we do have several photos up on the wall that you have taken. Okay. I never know. I'm on call with the railroad, and I never know when the phone rings if it's a railroad call or if it's just some telemarketer. But that's what it was. It was a telemarketer, somebody wanting to sell me something at 10 minutes till 9 on a Thursday night. That is so aggravating. But in any case, sorry about the interruption. So that's the end of our list, but before we wrap this thing up, I'm going to make another call for any late check-ins, and the floor is open if anyone has any questions or comments. Call now. All right, I heard a 3-3 in there. Did anybody catch enough of that to be able to give me more? All right, station, I don't have a relay for you. You were barely holding the repeater. You were chopping in and out. So if you can try that again, maybe you can come in nice and loud on the into the microphone and see if we can get you there. Try that check-in one more time.
Yeah, it's Noonan 33, WRKI 426.
3-3, I heard.
Yeah, that was a Noonan 3-3. I got him that time. So that is Brandon in Noonan. Thank you for that check-in, Brandon. Now, nice and loud, can you come back and tell us any one-day trips that you have in mind or that you've done or that you'd like to do?
It would be real nice if I could just get one day off and go ride my motorcycle during the day. That'd be great.
I tell you, I have worked that life in the past where one day off would have been a great thing. But hopefully that's not a forevermore. Sometimes it's good to be busy, and sometimes it's just busy being busy. So hopefully you're able to enjoy the fruits of that labor and put that in the bank for down the road. But I hear that. Being a railroader, I've had my time of working long hours and long weeks and long travel times. So sorry to hear it, and hope that you're able to get some relief sometime soon. All right. Any other late check-ins? Any other questions or comments? The floor is open. Net control standing by.
This is Atlanta 210, WRCK 347, Roswell, Georgia, Stephen.
Stephen, it's been a minute since we've heard from you. Atlanta 210 in Roswell. I've got you in the log. Stephen, do you have any one-day trips you'd like to tell us about?
Justin, I came in late, so I'm not sure. Probably redundant, but I really love the Cherahillet Skyway. I love the Blue Ridge Parkway. Most recently, we went to Mount Mitchell, which is the highest elevation. So in the middle of summer, when it gets really hot, that altitude is really nice. So any day trips up to the Skyway and the Parkway are really nice for me, especially on a motorcycle, as I've heard some other fans at the end here.
Yes. Those would be good rides. I don't ride a bike, but there are many of us on the net who do. And Atlanta 123 is famous for his bike excursions to various repeater locations and radio check and radio tests from various sites. And I know that's something he very much enjoys. Very weather dependent, you know. It's tough to do that when the weather's crappy, but I think we're going to have a string of some pretty nice days coming up. So I hope that you have an opportunity to get the bike out and enjoy that. I know that you have a project that you've been engaged in and has consumed a lot of your time. Are you getting to a place where that's coming to an end, or where are you at with that?
No, but I will be coming up for air. I get a little release in May and then back in the classes summer through probably summer next year. So be underwater for a little while, Justin, but thanks. I'm looking forward to getting past that and more free time.
Oh, well, fantastic. I hope that that goes well for you and ends soon, so we can get you back into play here. If you have the opportunity in May, we have a North Georgia GMRS gathering we're planning at Wallace Barbecue in Austell on May 15, and we're still undecided. We have tentatively selected 6 p.m. as our gathering time, but there's discussion about having that earlier in the day on Saturday so that folks can get there and be able to drive home and not be in the dark. So stay tuned. If that's something that you're able to participate in, we'd certainly love to have you. All right. Great to hear you on the air. Next, well, I don't have a next on my list. Stephen is our last check-in at this moment. So with that in mind, Net Control will open up the floor for discussion or late check-ins. I'm standing by.
Hey, Justin, I sent a message. I think 113 has tried checking in a few times, and I'm not sure if you're hearing him or if somebody's stepping over him. But I think it was 113.
All right, I appreciate that. Atlanta 113, are you trying to check in with us? Go ahead with your traffic.
I think that may have been me, Atlanta 123. I tried twice to get in to add additional comments, but I guess somebody stepped on me both times.
Well, that's probably your long-winded net controller. You can't get that guy to shut up. So I'll bet you that's what happened. Do you have additional comments you'd like to make at this time?
Well, actually, Steve, the last check-in took my thunder away because I was going to say if you're going to head up to Ball River Falls, you might as well do the Cherahela Skyway, which is an awesome drive with some beautiful views. So between Tellico Plains, Tennessee, and Robbinsville, there, North Carolina, it's a great drive. And over near Robbinsville, you've also got Lake Santitla, which has some beautiful views there as well. So that was going to be my additional comment. If you make it to Fall River Falls, go ahead and do the Cherahela Skyway.
Ah, fantastic. Well, good stuff. I appreciate those comments, Tim. I'm glad you're able to get in there and finally get that net controller out of your way. Appreciate that. Okay, we're coming up on a good time to close this thing out. So, but before I do, I want to make sure everybody's had a chance to say their piece. So I'm going to break one more time for any late check-ins. Any questions, comments? The floor is open. Net control standing by. Okay, well, hearing nothing, I'm going to go ahead and close this edition of the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of 34 check-ins, including myself. Thank you, everyone, for participating tonight. Net Control will now be returning repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your Net Control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. Justin, and I'll be clear. Thank you, everyone. All right, folks, we did it.
Atlanta 210 WRCK 347, clear.
So thanks, YouTube, for hanging out with us this evening.
Atlanta 57 WQZ.
Really appreciate you all sticking it out and participating and viewing the live stream. Let me go ahead and pot that down. And folks, we'll do this again next week. I very much enjoy having you along for the ride, and we'll catch up with you soon. And the lights just went out. That's interesting. Not all of them, just the overhead. Strange. So thank you for that, and we'll catch up with all of you again very soon. Net Control signing off. WQIR 514 Atlanta 946. Justin, and I'm clear.